Korea's banks just agreed to consolidate identity verification into one shared service. Hana Financial Group and SK Telecom-backed BitGo is entering Korea's crypto custody market. A new interview warns that 90% of regular deposits are now corporate cash, and bank funding costs could keep climbing. Meanwhile, MG Saemaul Geumgo plans to merge 30 branches in the second half. And financial regulators are burning half their inspection staff's time just commuting to Seoul. It's Friday, August 21st. Let's break down what's happening in Korea's financial sector. Korea's commercial banks launched a joint authentication service called NAIM this week, letting customers use a single verified credential across 6 major banks instead of managing separate logins. Separately, BitGo Korea, backed by Hana Financial Group and SK Telecom, is moving into the domestic crypto custody market as digital asset oversight matures. Both developments arrive alongside warnings that bank funding costs may keep rising, since roughly 90% of new time deposits are now corporate cash rather than retail savings. Here's what the numbers show. 6 major Korean banks launched the shared NAIM authentication service this week, letting customers use one verified ID across all participating banks. The move follows years of fragmented bank-specific certificates and simplifies cross-bank digital identity checks. BitGo Korea, backed by Hana Financial Group and SK Telecom, entered the domestic crypto custody market this week. About 90% of new regular time deposits are now corporate funds rather than retail savings, according to a banking sector interview published this week. That shift pushes up banks' funding costs, since corporate deposits are typically larger, more rate-sensitive, and quicker to move than retail savings. MG Saemaul Geumgo plans to merge 30 branches in the second half of 2026 as part of its restructuring push. So what does this mean for compliance teams tracking Korea? Earlier, we said both moves point to how Korean finance is bracing for higher costs and new competition. Here's what that actually means for you. Shared authentication and crypto custody entry both signal banks racing to control new revenue and compliance infrastructure before non-bank players do. For compliance teams tracking Korea, the corporate-heavy deposit base is the funding cost risk to watch, while the Saemaul Geumgo mergers and FSS relocation issues point to slower structural strain elsewhere in the system. That's today's AI PRISM, Finance Daily. This episode was produced with AI assistance based on Seoul Economic Daily reporting and reviewed by a human editor. AI PRISM is a WAN-IFRA award-winning series. We'll be back tomorrow.